ladies and gentlemen, we are here to divert you from your regularly scheduled death metal listenings for this past couple of weeks as we bring you back into Progland, courtesy of me and my pick from February. With me, as always, is the Reverend Ben Lindsay, the Murder Basement VIP Lounge Strip Club Gabe Cooper, and the Dr. David Pizza. How y'all doing tonight, gentlemen?
Death metal is the best metal. Don't you forget it, no matter how much prog you inflict on me, Tracey. I'm great.
I mean, there's some death metal in this, so we didn't get it completely cleared away from it.
I admit, I was pleased with those parts, man.
I was too, David.
Are they going to play this at the VIP party?
They'll play parts of it to be the VIP party. They're going to do it the Brechtian way and play the parts you don't want to hear, though.
Well, that would be the majority of it.
I'll be there.
So Persefone, or maybe it is pronounced Persephone, even because that's what it's derivative of. Metanoia.
I think it's Persefone. Yeah. But I like Persefone or whatever.
Persefone,
West Kentuckyism for sales.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be Persephone or Persephone or whatever. Anyway, this was released on February 4th. 2022. It is their 7th studio album. It is on Napalm Records. It has a runtime of 57 minutes and 47 seconds. The band is Tony Mestrecoy, the Fragment of Silence on bass, Carlos Lucena Quintanilla Rudiger on guitars, Miguel Espinosa Lawler, keyboards and vocals, Mark Martins Pia, lead vocals, Sergey Vertiger on drums, and Felipe Baldai on guitars, with Einar Solberg, who came in and added vocals on track 1, Mirth Sobsabet, vocals on tracks 5 and 9, Stefan Kummerer, guitars on track 9, and Angel Vivaldi, guitars on track 9.
Angel Vivaldi is definitely a drag queen name.
That is totally.
Please look on the stage,
Angel
Vivaldi.
Yeah.
So why did I pick this album?
Well, I know why you picked it, but explain to those who don't.
So I was between this and Allegiance Damnum album. If you hadn't heard that one, go listen to it. It's fantastic as well. But I wanted something I wanted to kind of break the death metal week we were in for our listening for that week and kind of give a little variety into it. So that's ultimately what I decided to choose this album. I'd heard a couple of their albums previously and enjoyed them, and I thought, why not? I'm sure Ben will love this album, so all the more reason to pick it.
Is there a term, Tracey, for when your palate, like, you need a reset? Is there a thing you say when you want to cleanse it?
Is it like ginger after eating something?
Just like that, exactly.
Is it a palate cleanser? Is that the word you're looking for?
That's it. That's what I was hoping for. There it is.
Yeah,
I understand your argument. My counter argument, Tracey, is that too much death metal are words that should never come out of your mouth, sir. And
there's no such thing.
There's no such thing. Yeah, who told you that?
Who told you that garbage?
Well, you gotta think about it in our listening perspective of people who follow along listening to this live. They would have 2 weeks of nothing but death metal.
They would be in our living room.
Yeah, let's give them a little bit.
I think you're assuming that people listen linearly, because not everybody does that.
If they've caught all the way up, they might. We've got a couple people from Estonia that's been listening since the beginning.
Damn right we do.
mean,
fuck you.
Fuck yes,
point, Estonia.
If I would have picked,
we love you, Estonia.
If I would have picked the Legion, we might as well just have Corpse Grinder set up in the living room and call it a week. So give them a little difference.
I mean, it's a very little difference. So
you needing that break is enough, Tracey.
Yeah, no, totally.
A man cannot live on Corpse Grinder Fisher alone, though one might try.
So yeah, I enjoyed this album overall for the most part. I dig this proggy shit where there are a lot of diddly doos and tweets. I enjoyed the fast, like, it reminded me a bit of Hawken to an extent. They also got more heavier than Hawken. There were elements in here that remind me also of Gladiator's Horse, and so I enjoy this kind of disparate like styles that they brought in on this album that they play even through one song, and so it's just kind of something to keep you on your toes.
I never heard a band from Andorra before. That's new. That's different. The place is not large.
So what, 70,000 people?
You are 70,000 people, Tracey.
Thanks for calling me fat, David.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess that is where we went on Thunderdome Metal Reviews.
so I guess my comment on this album initially will be this isn't the music that I gravitate toward normally, but I think the compositions are interesting and they maintain a level of heaviness that I can respect, even when I don't particularly enjoy so many orchestral swells in my music. One of the things also that I was really struck by was this guest vocalist who really starts out the record a little bit, but then he kind of disappears, which I thought was a real shame because that is a nuclear grade weapon right there. And they could have deployed it a couple more times, I thought.
I like prog more than Ben, I think. And I actually like orchestral stuff, but in some ways I don't think they did it quite hard enough. Or I don't know. I feel Will to Run of Boston public school system. I feel like they are better at it, to give you a comparison in recent memory. But it is, I do respect how heavy it is. It's pretty at times. I mean, it wasn't offensive. I mean, that's what Tracey was here. Serified, not offensive. I mean, it was not the proggiest prog that's ever progged it. So that was okay. And they can play their instruments. That's a thing.
They're very good musically.
Yeah,
it is uncompromisingly heavy. I agree with that. I did really like the it was a little Cookie Monsterish, but I did like the growl of the guest singer that they had on that first track, whose name is already left my mind. But man, this is another in a long line of bands that want to write a soundtrack to a video game or something and just do that instead of making an album and wasting an hour of everybody's fucking life.
I always feel like it's a movie I haven't seen.
Yeah, that too.
But,
it's like Jesus Christ. I mean,
I think if they were given the opportunity to write a soundtrack, they'd probably jump on it.
I think you are 100%, and they probably should. I mean, they are interesting, very good musicians. Again, there's just something about dudes masturbating on 8-string guitars that doesn't appeal to me. In the same way that Yngwie Malmsteen masturbating with a 6-string guitar doesn't appeal to me. And I get that the brilliance and the ability to play in that style takes impeccable chops. And it's not hard, and they will be better musicians than I will ever be. And I can appreciate that fact, but I have no desire to listen to dudes winking off. So
you're going to pistol whip Fred Durst when you go back to get your amps. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Yeah, I'm going to Eddie Van Halen that ass. Rest in peace.
Well, I kind of knew what to expect coming in this album. I do to kind of link it back to what David says. I think Wild Would Run does a bit more seamless transitioning with their songwriting. This is much more next, much harder transition and much harsher transition, I think, in their songs when they adjust in them. And I do think a bit that does detract from the work.
Well, I have shed on them, so now I'm going to swipe a little bit of that off, I guess. In that, with some of these bands, I feel like they're putting too many ideas that aren't logically connected to each other, that they don't necessarily make any sense, and they weaken the songs. I never really felt that way with this band. They are moving in different parts and everything, but I can see the composition in a way that it makes sense and it still feels like a song, as opposed to just guys all randomly playing stuff. So kudos to them for that, in being able to show off this virtuosity and actually still do it within the structure of a musical piece as opposed to just interconnected solos.
Yeah, but a counterpoint to that would be that they have one song on here that is a continuation of a song that was first started several albums previously. So if you add up all the time together, it's like that's like another, like its own EP that actually could have been put together. I'm not sure what the logic is there, but I'm not sure if it actually belongs.
It reminded me of Virus and Occasionally Out, the Ocean Collective. Right. And they have and here's a whole nother album inside this album. You're like, wait, what? So, it didn't help the coherence necessarily. I think the songs are pretty and well played and kind of cool, but the thing is, as much as we joke about it being a video game or a movie, I didn't feel it really actually had an arc. if that makes any sense.
No, it makes plenty of sense. Like, I do think this does have a bit disjointed to compare to it that I typically like. Even with like Will to Run or Ocean Collective, those songs kind of did have like Ocean Collective, they were working through the epochs of the world, and like Will to Run had that, were built up to that culmination of the last like 4 tracks, which is really just one song that was 30 minutes, but it's separated into separate tracks.
Speaking of tracks,
I just think they're better at it. So I'm Team Prague with you, Tracy, but on that band way more than this band.
If I was going to put it, I think this is probably my least favorite of the 3 I've heard by them. I think but it's also the one I probably spent the most time with as well. So I don't know exactly how that accounts for it or not.
I don't know. I will say that in looking for the information to fill out for this band, I did read some reviews, and man, oh man, I am way on the other side of the bell curve of most people for this album. So take that with a grain of salt. So yeah, Tracy, what tracks do you enjoy?
So I got to line up with I think Metanoia is an okay opener, but I enjoyed Catabasis and Architecture of the Eye, Aware Being Watched, and Consciousness Part 3. Merkaba's pretty solid. I think Anabasis should have just been 1 track instead of 3.
I guess I'll go. If I were to choose a track off of this, it would be the opening track, primarily because of the guest vocalist. The rest of it, I would skip and not listen to again.
I'm not as harsh, but I don't know. I'm not sure any of these are pull-offable. In terms of, I wouldn't put them on a playlist. I think the arc of it is okay. This was one of those albums I just, I listened to it, and that was that. They're all fine, I guess. They're all fine, I guess. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah, nothing jumps out in a way that I would want to take. But I also don't want to consign this to the abyss to the same degree as Ben. I don't know if F Holster's in play here. I guess we're going to see. I don't know. Oh, see, okay. See, Tracy, it's not going to be that bad.
The tracks I would pull off of here would probably be Catabasis, Architecture of the Eye, Merkaba, and Anabasis Part 2. But I think that the album as such is too long, and I think that the instrumentals are mostly not for me and don't add too much to my experience of listening. So be that as it may, I think that they can really play their instruments, and I really think they could have used that vocalist more than they did.
Yeah, if they cut 2, 3 of these instrumentals and the lyrics, yeah, I think it could be pretty cool, actually.
Well, I mean, and to Dave's point about that, because I agree about the instrumentals, but one of the instrumentals, as he said, is a continuation of concepts from previous albums. I guess that's a cool Easter egg for the longtime fans, but
that's something you get with a lot of prog bands.
Yeah.
But Ben also often is like, I wish there were no singer at all. Let's just stop. You said that about a bunch of these bands.
a lot of prog I do feel that way. I don't necessarily feel that way about this band, because I don't think that their instrumentals are captivating enough, even though I did kind of compliment them. This is not God is an Astronaut by any stretch of the imagination, or the Ocean Collective, because I really liked it when they stripped the vocalists off their stuff. I really loved their musical compositions, and I don't feel the same way about this band, although I do agree with Gabe that musically, these guys are very, very proficient and very good players.
Grades, gentlemen?
Well, Tracy, you picked it.
Well, I was seeing if anything else to say, but I'm going to give this a B plus. I think it's a B plus. I think it's an 87.
I'm going to give it a D. I think most of it's filler, but incredibly well played filler.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna. I guess I'm gonna swing the pendulum back the other way because I don't mind this quite as much as I minded Wilderun, and I think the reason is that I actually enjoy some of the heavier tracks on here, and I can actually look forward to them if I'm going to listen to the album through. That said, I think there's too much unnecessary kind of instrumental stuff on here, so I kind of have to ding it for that. I would give this a B minus. We'll say it's like an 81.
They are good at playing their instruments, and some parts of this are interesting. And Tracey has tortured me with enough prog to like Stockholm syndrome me a little bit. So I'm going to give this. I'm going to give this an 80, the lowest B possible. Because I don't think you have to be totally a hardcore fan to enjoy this. I'm going with the rubric here, so it's an 80.
That brings us to an aggregate of a 78.
I mean, that's means it's for hardcore fans, Tracey. That's
Ben killed it.
D holster. That's the other side.
D-holster, yeah.
So, would you guys buy it?
Nope.
I mean, if I needed to get you a present, maybe. Even though you didn't like it that much, so maybe.
I
not.
know, shit. Maybe
That'd
not.
probably be a no as well for me.
No,
Yeah,
if I
I'm
bought
gonna-
any of this, I would buy like a couple of tracks, but that's about it.
I'm gonna wait and see how it sits over the year, and maybe it grows on me.
Well, like at Sputnik Music and that one of those other prog blogs, they like everybody was like slating this hardcore. Everybody's
I
like,
know.
this is their greatest
it.
album ever. And I was like, come on, guys. Anyway,
They say that about every new album that comes out, though.
Why? Just like supporting the team. That's
I
just how
guess.
they
I don't
roll.
know.
I mean, if you are, all things are somewhat subjective, and I'm not going to pretend they're not. But I guess if you like having albums that are an hour for no reason, then this would be your jam. But so
Wow.
anyway, Tracey, what are we doing next time?
Next, we are doing Gabe's pick for the month of February as we look at his schizophrenia and their recollections of the insane.
Schizophrenia.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. When I heard this, like,
Right, dude? Every time I hear that, I just think of fucking Max Cavalera. Schizophrenia.
This is
With
not
album cover,
that,
y'all.
but it's not that far from it. Yeah, this is cool. This is
You're
like
damn
a
right
Morbid
it's
Angel
not.
grade album cover.
Fuck yes, it is. This album, y'all. Thanks, Gabe. Thanks for your service. You
You're
get
welcome.
you get a death medal, and you get a death medal.
And you get a
Everybody
blackened
gets a death medal this week.
Yep. All right. Check us again next time on Thunderdome Metal Reviews.